Hi, and welcome to Discover Torah and Ger number 2. I am your host, Rabbi David Katz. All right, you guys ready to rock and roll? Is y'all ready to rock and roll? All right. Okay, class number 2. We're in the green book, type 1, because the green book. And I was preparing some things this week. And it turns out in the back of the green book, it talks about if a Ger Toshav receives a portion of the world to come, and if a Ger Toshav can circumcise himself. So when I did entirely the Olam Haba piece, the circumcise himself I looked over thoroughly, but we wouldn't do that today anyways. It's too much material. And then in the green book itself, on Avodah Zorah 10b by Katia Bar Shalom, the Roman who circumcised himself and received the world to come, I did all of that a couple weeks ago. And if memory serves me, there's not that much of a difference between the back of the book and in the book. You get more points of view from the text, which I had planned on doing today. But now that I did the back of the book, I think it's more tachlis. It's going to be more on the point. And, we're doing a series here. We can do the whole thing, just not today. Type 1. All right, so let's go. And I'm going to this is going to be a little bit of a Hamish class today. I'm not going to focus on getting every word right, because there's a lot of words here. It's a lot of text for the young philologists that we are, Jacques. What I do want to focus on is giving over the inyan. You understand what I'm saying? I want to give you the inyan. I want you to understand what's going on. All right, so if I look stupid, stumbling over some words, and I pull some witchcraft, it's not witchcraft. I want to skim through and give you the main points. This will not be the most refined class. And you know that we do a kind of a offbeat class every once in a while, type 1. And it could be that I get the words right. It could be like I did it today. I do feel confident, but I'm going to try to explain and read and be a one-man band at the same time while I'm focusing on giving you the ikr. So I'm making no promises. But I do promise you'll get the inyan. All right, type 1. And, here, we're going to start off already with a little bit of a problem. But this word, I know what it is from context, but I don't feel good enough to teach about it. It's, I think it's how you pronounce it is, I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's why I feel stupid. Let's look it up. Hey, pay, kuf, ayin, hey. Hafkua. How's he saying? Let's look it up. Enough witchcraft. Jock, enough witchcraft. And seeing it, and it's just like, I know what it means. When I read it, I know what it is. But we want to be able to give it over, right? Yeah, it's cancellation. Hafka. There it is. See, it's pronounced Hafka. Right, so it's a cancellation. Release from debt. Wow, that is fascinating. And Jacques, I'm not being facetious. It really is fascinating. That really is. Hafka miyuchedis la'akum meshabis michmas hiyuso oro. Hafka miyuchedis la'akum meshabis michmas yuso oro. How would you pronounce it? How would you translate that? Hafgah Miyuchedes, like a special release from Shabbos, a special barrier for the Akum from Shabbos because of being uncircumcised. Man, there's so many things I want to give over here. You know that? That's the real tragedy here. That's the real tragedy going on. It's not so bad. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. Let's see if we can do it. And then the other one is a couple more pages. Not too bad. This could be 2 classes. Let's try it. I could use that cup of coffee, Justin Becker. All right, let me stand. I need to stand to get this over. I need to give over some energy. Ready? Okay, you guys hear me? You know what? I am going to stand for this class. Hold on. Let me get my stender built up to. Let me raise it up here. This is a class you got to stand for. Go ahead and make yourselves comfortable here. Get a cup of coffee, Jacques. How do you do this? Hold on a second. There you go. All right. My other stender is taller. I'm going to do a lot better of a job. Okay, ready? Guys, ready to roll? This stender is not very tall at all. I've never even had this tall before. Yeah, we're even. Okay. All right, Jacques, you ready to go? All right, let's give. This is going to be a mini series of at least 2 classes. Right, this part of the Green Book and the next part of the Green Book, but probably more like 3. Today would be the intro to the first part, and next week would be the real part of the first part. But it could be as many as 5, 6. I don't know. We're going to be on Ger circumcision for a while. Let's put it that way. Type 1. We're going to be on it for a little while. So we're saying 2 classes, but don't believe that. But we've seen that we can knock out material fast, so I don't know. We're gonna do it very Lafip Shuto, this introduction, okay? Very rapid pace in terms of some simple 1s and 2s. All right? Again, we're talking Lafip Shuto, very dry here. There are Jewish people in the world. Can I get a 1, please? Can I get a 1, please? The Jewish people received the Torah at Sinai. Let's get the 1s flowing. Let's go. A Jew is identified as someone who is born circumcised. You'll say, that's ridiculous, Rabbi Katz. Everybody knows that Jews are circumcised. They're not born circumcised. That's not what we're saying, Lafip Shuto. What I'm saying is I've never had a foreskin. Type 1. Right? A Jew is born circumcised. His dad is going to circumcise him. He's never going to understand life uncircumcised. That's a Jew. That is the Iker of a Jew. Lefim Shuto. Type 1, if you know what I'm talking about. Type 1. Let's go. Remember, I told you, we're making generalizations here. Sweeping generalizations. There are Jewish people in the world that have this circumcision thing going on. Meaning, Jacques, what is a Jew? It is someone circumcised. And that circumcision gives them Shabbos, Torah, and a third one. I got to find it here. What's the third one? Bris Milah itself. Bris Milah itself. So a Jewish person will find out that he has naturally been given Shabbos, circumcision, and Torah. Type 1. The non-Jew does not have Shabbos, Torah, or circumcision. Type 1. Now you're going to ask yourself, what is this non-Jew that you speak of? Type 1. Now here's where we're going to get very, very Iker, Jacques. Everybody, can anyone tell me what a non-Jew is? What is the Iker of a non-Jew? What is the Iker? Jacques is right. It's idolatry. Jacques, can you be a little bit more specific, please? Which idolater are you referring to? Come on, let's go. Jacques? Which idolater? No, Jacques. Not Akum. That's a synonym. 7 Canaanite idolaters. 7 nation Canaanite. Type 1. If you are a Canaanite, you are what the Bible is calling an idolater. Type 1. If you are a Jew, whatever you are not a Canaanite idolater. So now you understand the Torah's playground is the land of Israel. The Jews were told to come into Israel, and now it's a battle. Is the land going to be idolatrous or Jewish? Type 1. The whole mission of the Torah is to conquer the land of Israel as Jews, remove the idolatry, and then it becomes a question, what do we do with the rest of the world? Does Ger Toshav exist in the rest of the world? Or can the rest of the world be idolatrous? Is that not the fundamental question of Torah philosophy that people are debating? What is a Gentile? What is a non-Jew? What is a Jew? What's the mission? What's the meaning of life? What's the tikkun? What's the point? Doesn't it all boil down to what is the mission of a Jew? What is the mission of the world? How do they work together? Isn't this what it's about? So a Jew is someone circumcised, Shabbos, and Torah. Type 1. And as the Green Book is going to say here, Shabbos and Torah go together. And those are given to someone with Bris Milah. Okay, so a Jew is someone born into that construct, and a non-Jew is an idolater. So, Jacques, how would we identify the idolater? Anyone? John, Justin? 3 J's. How would we identify an idolater? Think Lafib Shuto. No. Nothing to do with Shabbos or Malach on Shabbos. This is a different sugya. You're bringing me Ikarim from a different sugya. This is a different sugya altogether. Here we're going to call our 7 Canaanite, yes, John Pring, circumcision. A non-Jew, Jacques, is somebody that doesn't have Bris Milah. Better yet, then you bring in the Goy, Akum, all your favorite terms, is someone that does not have Bris Milah. Thereby, since he does not have Bris Milah, He doesn't have Shabbos or Torah. As the Torah says, anyone that doesn't have Bris Milah cannot understand Torah. Type 1, Lefip Shuto Jacques. And Torah and Shabbos are synonymous. Now, how does a person receive the world to come? Is it not by keeping Shabbos, which is 1/60th of the world to come, or by learning Torah, or by having a circumcision? Now, you're going to say the third one is a little hard to understand. That's why we're here learning. For the sake of argument, press 1. All right, so you all see the national mission here, correct? A bunch of people lived a long time ago, and they didn't get the job done. So God came down at Sinai, and he said, we're going to make a whole bunch of people from Abraham inherit Abrahamic stuff called circumcision. That way I can give them the Torah and Shabbos, and they're going to be automatically entered in the world to come on some level for having Bris Milah for the sake of being Jewish. We'll call that the chosen people. Everybody else in the world has got to figure out what to do next. The Jewish people we're going to send into the land of Israel, conquer the Canaanites, who are idolaters with not circumcision, and there will at least be Jewishness in the land of Israel, and then we discuss what to do with the rest of the world. Does Jewishness go out, or do we let the rest of the world remain idolatrous? Does that about sum it up for you guys? In terms of a very scant, basic, philosophical view of the Torah. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Hello. 1 or 2? Hello. So then again, okay, so a Jew is someone circumcised, and a non-Jew is an idolater who is identifiable by a lack of circumcision. So by lack of circumcision, you will know that person doesn't have Shabbos or Torah, and thereby no God, no world to come. They are idolaters. You see how it makes the Torah super clear? Super clear? There are Jews and non-Jews. Non-Jews are idolaters. Okay. Now let's say, for the sake of discussion and argument, Jacques, that was reality. Let's just say when Joshua entered the land of Israel. All right, don't give me gear or anything. There's no gear. Just real cut and dry here. All right. Joshua goes in the land. This is now the world outlook. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? Now, Joshua and the boys are going to have an impact on the idolaters, correct? Now let's bring in some merit here. Let's say there's a whole bunch of Jethros also. There are these Gerim, and they were at Sinai, they were before Sinai, and they were after Sinai, and they're the Nilva Ger attached to Israel to help in this mission to remove idolatry. We got some good Jethros and Naamans and Ravnas all out there. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? So we'll say that the 4 houses of Israel have always existed. There's always been Kohanim and Levim and Israelites and the Yaels of the world, right? These righteous non-Jews, so to speak, the Gerim, the Nilva Ger, on Israel, attached for the sake of helping the nation, the greater nation of Israel, remove idolatry from the world. Is that a safe assumption? And we're not talking holy house or non-holy house. We're not saying any of that. And just for the sake of clarification, we do know that intermarriage will never happen again, right? There were special cases where it brought King David in the world in terms of Ruth and Boaz, as brought down in Rabbi Nebenzahl's Sefer. And there's a lot of things like Jacob married 2 sisters, which will never happen again, right? And once there was a King David, the backside got its bribe, so to speak, to let it happen. Like Lot and his daughters bringing King David in the world as well. And then for the rest of time, Jews will marry in the holy house. Non-Jews will marry in the non-holy house. Should a non-Jew wish to marry a Jew, they convert to the holy house of Israel for the right reasons, a proper conversion, and they marry an Israelite or a Levite, and they will not marry a Cohen. Am I crystal clear about that? There will never be a permission again to bring another King David in the world because we already got King David. Okay? The Ger Toshav thing with Ruth, the scriptural level of not doing it is a Jew cannot marry an idolater. And you have to be sure it's not an idolater. And the Midrash and the Talmud state that Ruth was a special Ger because everyone knew she was not an idolater. So she was able to enter into the holy house in a very special way. Just like there will not be anyone ever again like Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, I can say, Rabbi David Katz knows a lot of Torah. Wow, Baruch Hashem. But I am not quite Moshe Rabbeinu, type 1. And there will never be a Moshe Rabbeinu again. Well, Gerim out there will never be a Ruth again. So you can kiss that dream goodbye. Ruth was Ruth, and Ruth brought us King David. King David's the Messiah. We don't need a whole bunch of Messiahs running around. One Messiah is enough. And that's why it's called Mashiach ben David. So God brought the special Gerim in Jethro and Ruth a long, long time ago. If you want to be Jewish, then convert to Judaism. And there's a lot of nice rabbis out there that can help you along that line. Intermarriage, as we know it, between the Jew and the non-idolater in its scripturally permitted ways, which even back then were probably rabbinically prohibited, certainly will never be revisited again. There's no need to. And the Jewish people don't need to do it. They won't do it. We'll never have another episode of Lot and his daughters, thank God. You understand what I'm saying? So the Ramban brings down that God hates what he used to love and loves what he used to hate. And God used to love building up the Israel nation. He used to love that. And now God is not interested in building the nation of Israel. It's already built. God only has one mission in mind, and that is bringing salvation to the nation of Israel. And that salvation to the nation of Israel comes by, obviously, the nation of Israel, but the help of the righteous Gerim, as it's brought down in Midrash, Kabbalah, Hasidus, the Nevuahs, the prophecies. We know that the Ger have a big help. Marrying Jews is not a way to help the Jewish people. It's not a way to help the world. In fact, it's illegal. Right? So the Gerim should marry Gerim, and the Jews should marry Jews. After the time of Ezra, there was a lot of Jews doing intermarriage back then, and they tried to make it kosher, and it didn't work. It really didn't work. It almost destroyed the nation. So just because the Torah let certain things happen, just like Lot with his daughters was technically allowed by the Torah, that doesn't mean go and do it. The rabbinic tradition exists for a reason. We don't necessarily follow every single Torah law just because it's permissible. Something that is theoretically permissible doesn't mean go ahead and do it. The Midrash says that in the end of days, the pig will become kosher. Does that mean that we should run out and eat pig just because it's kosher? No, there's never a reason to eat pig. If you take a cold piece of meat and a cold piece of cheese, and you happen to eat them together because they fell on one another and you didn't know it, were you guilty of eating a cheeseburger? No, because the scriptural is cooking a kid in his mother's milk. So does that mean that we can go out and open a cold-plated McDonald's cheeseburger shop for Jews? No, doesn't mean that. Just because something is rabbinically prohibited doesn't mean, oh, good, let's go and do it. All right, it is allowed to use a Shabbos goy. Wait, how's it go? You're allowed to use a Shabbos goy because only the Ger Toshav was commanded on Shabbos, not the Nachri. So should I have a Nachri come over and just turn my lights on for me and cook for me? And well, why not? It's allowed. The Torah allows it. I'll have my Shabbos goy do all kind of stuff. Turn the channels on the TV for me. do all kinds of stuff. No, the rabbis said, even though the Torah has a loophole, we made a concept of the Shabbos goy is illegal. Now, the rabbis made it legal in certain situations, but everyone knows you cannot do malacha with a Shabbos goy. It is not possible for every reason in the world. You don't need to be a genius to understand that. Why the Torah technically allowed it? Because the Torah was saying that the ger toshav should rest. And we know that the oral Torah exists and rabbis exist, and therefore offenses exist for good reasons. The ger toshav and all what it represents in a time before Jubilee or after Jubilee, the rabbinic ikarim attached to it are for very good reason. Again, intermarriage shouldn't have to even be explained, but it never did any good, even when it brought us King David. And when I say intermarriage, we're talking about a non-idolater. No one will ever say the Torah is adamantly clear that the forbidden quality is a Jew and an idolater. And the reason why the rabbis are stringent is, how do you know who's not an idolater? So it's not that, I told this to the boys in the yeshiva yesterday. You want to hear this? We're a little off topic, but we're introducing a lot of things here. We were doing the Mishnah Berurah with the boys. This will be my mashal for the intermarriage. Ready? If a Jew and a non-Jew, a real non-Jew, a goy who does malacha on Shabbos, they have a contract, they have a business. Why do I have to stipulate that I don't work or get paid on Shabbos, but you, Bob, do? Because if I don't stipulate, then it'll be like I made you, Bob, work for me on Shabbos, type 1. So the kids ask me, how's Bob working for you on Shabbos just because you didn't stipulate? Because you got to assume that Bob is working for the Jew on Shabbos because he's a Nachri and doesn't know any better. So until I stop it, you got to consider it not stopped. It's a constant thing Bob's doing. So Ruth is making a straight line for Boaz and the holy house of Israel, right? She will not be stopped, type 1. If anything short of that, then it's not a kosher thing. I think we can all agree that Ruth was special, that she knew exactly that she was bringing David in the world and that she belonged in the holy house with Boaz. Agreed? Just like Moses knew that God was talking to him with prophecy, Ruth had Ruach HaKodesh to know she was bringing the Redeemer in the world and she needed to be in the holy house. If you don't know that you need to be in the holy house, then can you just wander into the holy house? No. But if you want to convert, that's not the same as Ruth either. You can convert all you want. Conversion is a different thing. That's saying I'm going to put myself in the holy house so that I can do X, Y, Z. But Ruth didn't sit and do some kind of conversion. That's why she was a special kind of ger. She just went there. She was never not there. A convert realizes that they should be there. Ruth never realized that. Ruth was always there. Not I should be there. It's an I am there. You understand Ruth's dilemma? I am there, so why am I not? Why do I appear that I'm not there? And that was a special time in history, Ruth and Jethro. So the rabbis understood that kind of ger will never happen again. That was for the coming out of Egypt and bringing us the complete redemption. Thereby, conversion industry was established, and there will never be a test like Ruth, and that's why Samuel wrote the book of Ruth. So for the rest of time, unless you're a Jew, you marry in the non-holy house. If you're Jewish, you marry in the holy house. You don't go out of the holy house. And the non-Jew can enter the holy house should they have a kosher conversion. Because again, the fear is idolatry. No idolatry can enter the holy house. And you don't just say, well, I don't believe in idols, therefore I belong in the holy house. No. There can be no hint. It's almost like saying, are you righteous versus do you even have a Yetzer Hara? How many of you can say that you have no Yetzer Hara? Right? None. How many of you can say that you got a Torah revelation from God on the same level of Moses? Absolutely, God just spoke to me. No, you can't. Moses was the only one in history that had that level. So we know that we can believe the Torah without any doubt whatsoever because we know that Moses got it from God. Does anyone doubt that? Does anyone doubt that? One or two. Now, if I told you that I was sure that I had a revelation from God, I'm sure. Good old buddy David Katz. Hey, good old buddies. Would you guys believe me? It's your good buddy Dave Katz. Hey, come on, man. I'm the Ger rabbi for you all. Come on. You know how it is. We have class, and I'm sure God told me this. No. Moses is unique out of everybody in history. If Abraham came and told you that he had a revelation from God, would you believe him? No, you would not. Two, no, you would not. The Torah makes it very clear that only Moses had that level of revelation of Torah. You understand the difference? Moses was Torah, nobody else was Torah. Now, if I had a svara and a chachma and a good idea, yeah, you can believe me, right? But once I say God told me, no, God didn't tell you. You can say, I think it came from God. I'm pretty sure it came from God, blah, blah, blah. Moses, you don't even think twice it came from God. So when Ruth says, I belong in the holy house, you don't doubt that. Nobody else would even dare to do it. No one else would dare to write the Torah and call it authoritative than Moses. That's why it'll never happen again. But do you understand why the Torah had to let it happen? There is such a thing as God talking to people. There is such a thing as super duper Ger like Ruth. Otherwise, if it was forbidden, it would never happen. And that's how God brings the redemption. But once it happens, then it's unique. Once it's unique, it's not perpetuated. It's like a lion and a kitty cat. So if you want to enter the holy house, what do? You convert. If you don't want to convert, that's why God made Ger.